Hey guys, Tom from Photoix here, and I'm very excited today. I've bought myself a new toy to play with, and I want to show you today I'm not going to do an unboxing as such, but what I want to do is just imagine that you've just got this as a gift, and I'm going to dive into it, show you what you get, and then show you how to get started with it straight away. Because when you get a new gadget, you know, you don't want to sit reading the instruction manual, you want to get straight in there and have a play with it. So let's open it up and we'll see what you get in the box. This is the D3300, by the way, I didn't say, but it's pretty obvious. So you get all the gubbins, all the warranty stuff. I bought this one from Digital Rev, so I've actually got a Digital Rev warranty rather than the Nikon warranty, but it's all good. So we'll just get rid of all that in the way. They also supply an adapter for whatever country you're in. I'm in the UK obviously, so I've got the UK adapter there. Let's have a look at the accessories first, if I can get into them. Oh no, that's the camera. Oh well, I'll have a look at that in a minute. This one looked more camera shaped. This is actually the kit with the lens. It's the 18 to 55mm VR2 lens. There it is. It's very small, little compact, very light, but it's perfect for beginners. It's got really great focal length. This one actually extends quite a lot, so it's actually really compact when it's first out the box. This button here releases the lens, so when you get it, don't sort of wonder why it's not doing anything. When you first come to use it, it'll be on this L, which means locked. You can just release it onto the 18, it'll click a bit, and then you have to press the button again to relock it, and then you've got the full focal length there. So we'll get back to that in a minute. What else have we got in here? We've got the battery charger. We have got the battery, but as it says there, based on aviation regulations, the battery has been put into the camera, so that's fine. And then you get a USB cable and the strap. Okay, so we're going to forget about all that stuff. I'm not interested in that at the moment. We're interested in this. So here is the camera. It's really quite small, really compact, quite light, perfect for a first camera. So hopefully the battery is in there already. Yes, it is. When you get the camera, the battery may or may not be in the camera. So to put the battery in, find the battery door, pull that little lever there and the battery door will flip open. The battery has got an arrow on it. And you can also see there's a spring inside there which lines up with the flat part of the battery. So just make sure you line those two up and line the contacts up. Push the battery in until it clicks and then close the battery door. Okay, so the battery's in. Now we have to attach the lens. So you've got a cover on the lens, on the camera rather. So just twist that so it's to the white dot, take the cap off, take the cap off the lens, find the white dot that is on the lens and line that up with the white dot on the body, and then twist anti-clockwise, and then the lens is now attached. Get rid of the protection on there. Now hopefully the battery will have some charge in it, but quite often electricals come and the battery's sort of not fully charged, so you might want to stick the battery on the charger before you go any further, but that's entirely up to you. We can have a quick play with the camera now. Right, so the first thing to do when you want to use the camera, obviously take the lens cap off. Surprising how many people forget to do that, and you're obviously not going to get very good pictures with that on there. Next, if the lens is locked, press the button and twist it until you get to the 18, and then you can get to the 55 as well. If you look on the side of the lens quickly, you'll see you've got two buttons on the lens. You've got A, M, and then you've got VR on or off. I'd recommend turning VR on. That helps you get better pictures when you're starting. It will help cut out some of the blur from motion. If you're not used to using a DSLR, you can often wobble about a bit, and that VR will help you get steadier pictures. So we're going to dive straight into the camera, turn it on, and you'll get this funky screen on the back. And there's one important thing that we've forgotten to do, and so many people get caught out with this. DSLRs, you do not get a memory card provided. Pretty much all the time. I've hardly ever have come across a time when you get a memory card included in the package. So before you get too deep into the camera, make sure you have got a memory card. This particular one takes SD cards. I've got a SanDisk Extreme 16GB class 10 card. If you're going to be doing video or shooting in RAW, I really recommend getting a good fast card, class 10 or above. Turn the camera off again. Always turn the camera off before you insert a card. Card door is on the side. Just pull it out and the card door will flip open. Take the card with the label pointing towards you and stick it in until it clicks. You'll notice the green light on the bottom will also turn on when you put the card in. That just means it's reading the card. Close the door, turn the camera on again, and now we are good to go. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through what some of the things on the screen here mean. This one here shows your shutter speed. This one shows your aperture. This one shows your ISO. And then all these down here are different options which you can go into and change. This shows how many photographs you've got remaining. This shows where your focus point is. This one up here shows what mode you're in, and then you've got some other information up here, different things that are on, SD cards in, the drive mode, the beeper is on, and the battery level. As you can see, there's only one bar on the battery, so this isn't going to last very long, so you might want to charge the battery before you dive into your camera. Otherwise you're going to get halfway through doing something and then the battery's going to run out. Okay, so to take a picture, really very simple. We've taken the lens cap off. You want to find the shutter button, which is the big silver one here, and if you just practice pressing it, very lightly press it, and you'll feel it presses halfway. And straight out of the box you'll also hear it beeps. When it beeps like that, it means it's got focus, it's focused on something. And then if you get to that point and then press a little bit further, it will take a picture. So just practice that a few times, just lightly pressing to get focus, and then pressing all the way to take the picture. And that's it. It's really as simple as that. You've taken your first picture. Now you might find when you first take the camera out of the box, all sorts of weird things will happen. A flash will pop open, it might say things on the back of the screen. That's all fine, you'll figure all this out in time. That's because we're in the automatic mode and the camera's trying to get the best picture that it thinks it can. If it's a little bit dark inside, it will probably pop the flash open to get some more light in there. You can just go ahead and close that if you don't want it. Now when you first get the camera, auto mode is fine just to go around the house taking pictures. And I've got plenty of other videos on my channel telling you how to use the other modes, and I will also be doing similar videos for this actual camera. So if you have the D3300, keep an eye out on my channel, because I'll go through what all these modes do and how to use them and how to get the best out of them. But in this video I'm just going to really quickly run through a few other basic things that you might want to do on the first time you get it. So let's just say, for instance, we're using the auto mode. We're going taking pictures, everything's fine, but not quite what you want. You want to sort of experiment with some different things. So one of the first things that I would probably do is just find out what all the other buttons on the camera do, because there's quite a few of them. We've got this one up here, you probably won't know what that means. Basically, we don't need to worry about that at the moment. I'll tell you more about that in another video. This one here is quite interesting though, the LV button. This is live view, so if you go and press that, there, we've now got an actual view of what's going on. A lot of people who come from point and shoot cameras really like that, because that's what they're used to. They're not used to using a viewfinder. What I will say though is try and use a viewfinder, because it's so much better. It makes the camera much quicker to use, it's quicker to focus. In live view, the focusing, although it's pretty quick, it's never going to be as quick as using the viewfinder. To get out of live view again, simply press the live view button again. As you'll see, the flash popped up again by itself. This button down here is obviously the delete button. This one here changes the release mode, or drive mode is another name for it. So basically this means when you press the shutter button, how many pictures are taken and sort of how they're taken. So this one is a single frame. You press the shutter button, one photo will be taken. Continuous, press the shutter button and it will keep taking pictures for as long as the memory can keep up. Quiet shutter release, it's not that much quieter, but it just slows the process down and it's not so much of a clap from the shutter. So it's good to use that in churches and sort of things like that. Self timer for taking self portraits and group portraits. Delayed remote and quick response remote. I'll go into that in another video. For now, just keep it in single frame just to get used to taking pictures. Now I've also got a set of buttons on this side. We've got the play button, menu button, zoom in button, zoom out button, and the I button. You can press the I button to get into this menu down here, or you can also use the info button on top of the camera as well. There's lots of settings in here you can play around with: image quality, image size, flash mode, focus mode, autofocus area mode. You'll notice some of the options are greyed out and you can't get to them. That is usually because of what you've got this mode dial set on. Certain settings on here affect certain settings on here. So if there's something that you can't get to because it's greyed out, try changing the mode dial to one of the modes inside that box there, M, A, S or P. I can pretty much guarantee that some of these things will then become available. So if I go into that now, you can see there's a lot more stuff available in there now. Basically that's because if you're using these modes, the camera sort of thinks that you know what you're doing, and it allows you to change things, whereas in the auto modes the camera is trying to take control of everything and it doesn't want you messing around with these things here. If we just take a closer look at the top of the camera, this is the mode dial. This controls how you shoot the camera basically. There's so many different settings on here. I will do a separate video on this and go into more detail what each of the different icons mean. For now I would leave it in auto just whilst you're taking your first few pictures, but then try messing around with some of these other ones, A, S and P. You can try manual if you want, but there's no rush, there's plenty of time to get into that. This info button I mentioned just now, that controls things on this screen. It also gets you into this screen here. If you're on one of the normal modes and you press the info button, you can turn the monitor on and off. This button here, this has two purposes really. In certain modes on here, you press this to change the aperture. If you're in aperture priority mode, or A, you use this to change the exposure compensation. Again, I'll get into all this in a different video and go into more detail. This dial on the back here, again, is multi-purpose. Depending what mode you're in up here, this has different functions. At the moment I'm in A, aperture priority, so when I turn this it changes the aperture of the lens. If this dial was in S, this would change the shutter speed, and you can see the shutter speed changing there. If I was in M, manual mode, doing this would change the shutter speed, but then if I press this button and held it and then turn this dial, that would change the aperture. So these two buttons here are multi-purpose depending on what mode the mode dial is on. Let's just have a very quick look at the menu just so you can see what sort of things are in here. So we've got several different menus down the side, and you just use the D-pad here to scroll through them. When you see the thing you want, just press across and then that will bring you into the sub-menus. And if you find another setting you want, you can press across again and that will bring you into another submenu. To go back, just press the back arrow. So there's loads and loads of different settings in here. I'm not going to go through them now. Again, I'll do a separate video on this. But so you can just get a rough idea of the sort of things that are in here. Just go through it and have a look, and just get an idea of what sort of settings you can change in here. If you're not sure on what something means, you can press this button here with the question mark on it, and it will actually tell you. It's got an inbuilt help menu. Okay, so we've taken our first few photos, but what if you want to shoot a movie in this camera? You can see you've got the record button up here, but if you press it, nothing happens. There's a good reason for that, because with DSLRs you can't just start shooting movies straight away. You have to use this button first to enter live view, then you can press the record button, and then it will start recording your movie. You can see the record icon is flashing up here, and then to stop it, just press that button again, and that will stop recording. And then to get out of live view, just press the live view button again. So once you've taken your first few photos and your first few movies and you want to have a look at them, it's very simple. Find the play button and just press play. This is the movie that we just took, and you can see it says there, press OK to play, and then it will start recording your movie. You can see the record icon is flashing up here, and that will of course play your movie. You can then scroll back through all your previous pictures and movies using the scroll buttons here, and these are the pictures that I took just now when I was demonstrating the camera. Not particularly exciting photos. If you want to zoom in on the picture, you can press the plus, and that will zoom right in on the picture, and then to zoom out you can press the minus key. Once you get back to that view, you can actually press the minus key again to bring up some thumbnails of all your pictures, and you can actually press that several times to have different size thumbnails. To get back to the main one, just keep pressing the plus button until it gets back to there. If you want to delete a photo, obviously there's a delete key. Just press delete, it'll ask you. If you want to confirm that, press the delete key again, and then that will delete the images. When you've run out of images, it will tell you there's no more images on the card. Another quick point to make: if you're using the viewfinder and you're looking through it, and say you've gone to focus on something, so you half press the shutter button and it beeps, but when you're looking through it, it still looks out of focus. This might be because you need to change the diopter for your eyesight. Basically, by turning this, it moves the lens in the viewfinder backwards and forwards, and if you look through the viewfinder whilst you're doing this, you'll see the text in the viewfinder and you'll see the picture in the viewfinder getting sharper and blurrier as you move it. So just adjust this to suit your eyesight. Everybody's different, so everybody's going to have a different setting, and then that should bring the image in the viewfinder nice and sharp. But you must be focused in on your picture, or you can just read the text in the viewfinder. Once the text in the viewfinder is sharp, then obviously once you're focused in on your subject, that will be sharp as well by using this diopter adjustment here. Again, when you're looking through the viewfinder and you half press the shutter button, if you have VR turned on the lens, you might notice that the image in the viewfinder jumps slightly. That's perfectly normal. That is just the lens stabilizing the image for you. You might also hear it make some weird kind of clicky whirring noises. Again, that's pretty much normal. Different lenses have different noises. This one's actually pretty quiet, the 18-55, but if you've got different lenses with VR, you might notice that they are a little bit noisy. As long as it's not sort of grating and really making a noise, then it's perfectly normal. There's nothing to worry about. Okay guys, I hope that was helpful. That's just a really quick first look at the Nikon D3300 just to get you started. If you have any questions on it at all, please don't hesitate to leave any questions in the comments box. You can also ask me questions on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description below. As I said earlier, keep an eye out for lots more videos on this camera, and also there's loads of other videos on my channel, from how to use shutter speed, aperture, how to change lenses, all sorts of things. So go check that out. Subscribe if you're not already to keep up to date with all the latest videos. So cheers guys, thanks very much, and have a great day.